It's very sunny out and I don't have air conditioning. I'm making something on the stovetop and with my air fryer. Doesn't this look like Darth Vader's chamber? I'm gonna be making red potatoes. I got these at Trader Joe's. They're a really great deal and get organic if it is at all possible. Red potatoes are always better than the golden potatoes. Did I say tomato? If I said tomato, I meant potato. Potato. Red potato. Obviously, every time you have more color, it's going to have more nutrients. Red potatoes, always better. What I like to do is when I mash up my potatoes, I do it with carrots. I like to use these little baby-sized carrots because I can just put these in whole. I'm going to rinse them off a little bit because they have water in there. And then boil with the potatoes and do a mashed potato carrot blend. That way you get a little bit more veg in with potatoes. It's not just the starchy potato. I always do it that way. It makes it go further and it tastes good, and you just mash the carrot in with the potato. Besides that, I'm going to be making soy curls. Butler soy curls are made here in Oregon. These are low in calories. I love these guys. When I buy this, I actually don't just buy one bag. I buy like a 12 pack of these and they keep for a long time. You just use a little bit of water to reconstitute them. They look dried up. You might as well call them like a chicken substitute. It is made out of soy. It's non-GMO soy. This is really good with barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce. Today I'm using TJ's, which is Trader Joe's. If you don't know the lingo. Trader Joe's organic Kansas City style barbecue sauce. I usually add a few little things that make it a little bit spicier. I might add a little sriracha. You do you. If you like it straight up the way it is, then just do your favorite barbecue. And the fact that it's organic, it makes me feel a little bit better. This one is a good one. It's not too overly sweet. I'm going to make gravy to go with the mashed potatoes because everything is better with gravy. I'm using organic mushrooms that I got from Trader Joe's. I also have organic celery I got there. I've got some green onions. I'll probably chop those up and put those in the gravy as well. I've got shredded kale that I think we'll put on the side, and maybe I'll cook it up with some peppers and onions or something like that. And then it'll all taste so good together. Oh, I like that flavor profile, and it's hot here in Portland, so I don't want to be cooking in the oven. I'm going to be doing the potatoes on the stovetop. The kale will probably just be in a frying pan, and then the soy curls will go in the air fryer. The soy curls, I'm just going to put the bag in there so you can see they're just hard. I'm going to add some water to it, and you'll see what happens. Ooh, it's like magic. I'm using a little bit of this seasoning broth stuff, vegan. It says chicken. There's no chicken in it. See, it says it's vegan. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit in the bowl. That'll just give it more of a flavor. Make sure all of these little guys in here are just covered with water so that they can reconstitute. And then we'll put the barbecue sauce on top. I'm just mixing it around and making sure that it's all getting wet, giving it more flavorful action going on. I use my spoon, mush it, so that it all gets wet. I mentioned I'm going to be making gravy. Rather than throwing the liquid out, I'm going to use this liquid in my gravy. So this flavor is going to be double duty. A little bit of this little residue of these little Butler guys end up being in there. So be it. It's okay. Things don't have to be so fancy schmancy. Now I'm going to do up the potatoes. This is going to soak. It's going to take a little while, but it's not going to take very long to cook once it gets reconstituted. For the mashed potatoes, I'm going to be using this pot here. And I rinsed off my little baby carrots, and I'm just putting them, boom, like that, right there in the bottom. I'm going to fill this with some water and the potatoes. It's just easy. It's very fast. There's nothing fancy about it. With the potatoes, I'm cleaning them off because I'm leaving the skins on. They're good for you. I'm using this Veggie wash I got from Trader Joe's. I have a little scrubby thing that is for potatoes. And I just do a little of this action like this. Get them all clean and ready to eat. For the potatoes, I'm gonna cut them. Some of these look like they have seen better days. It's a little bit on the soft side, but when you're doing mashed potatoes, they're not too bad. These look pretty good. They're nice and yellow inside. I'm gonna cut this little end off here. That's not rotten or anything. Some of the pieces might end up being a little bit bigger than others. It's not that big a deal. Put a fork in it when you think maybe it's done and make sure that they're all soft enough. The carrots are gonna be the clincher because you wanna make sure that those are gonna actually mash up, but you might do a little extra cooking. So there's a little bit of weirdness on this end. I'm just gonna cut and boop, See, it's fine. I've got the water in there. I'm not gonna go crazy with the water. I do not cover this. I'm just gonna put it on the stovetop. In my gravy, I'm going to add the organic mushrooms. I've got some little baby peppers. I'll put a couple of those in there. I've got celery from Trader Joe's, and then I've got some of these green onions from Trader Joe's as well. I'm going to chop those up, put them in my saute pan. Once those are more crispy, I'm going to take the water from the soy curls and add it in with the veggies, then add some thickeners, organic cornstarch. It will be a gluten-free gravy. Just to give it some wetness, I'm going to add some of this Japanese barbecue sauce I get from Costco. I love this stuff very much. It really dulls up everything. Put a little squirty squirts in there. You see? Squirt, squirt. Squirty squirt. And that's going to be kind of the basis of the gravy. And then I'm going to show you my secret weapon for the gravy. I'm going to let this kind of start to cook up on my stovey stove. But the potatoes are not soft yet. I think I'm going to start flavoring up my soy curls because they're nice and soft. I need something to put this liquid in to hold it for right now. I'm going to put the liquid in this mug. It's a Van Gogh mug because I'm arty that way. I'm just taking the liquid, see, in the spoon, putting it in there. I'm mushing. So I'm taking the liquid like this, and I'm going to put the liquid into the mug. I'm going to go back and forth like that. It takes a little bit of time, but it's all love. Cooking is love. I've got the stuff in the air fryer. I've got my other pan out. I think what I'm going to do is take some of these great veggies. I'm going to put them in a pan like this with the kale. So a little bit will be left over for the gravy, but not all of it. I'm diversifying them. This is going to be for the kale, and then the rest is going to be for the gravy. I just rinsed out the potatoes. They are cooked. I've not put the vegan milk yet in there or the vegan butter yet. I will do that in a little bit, but I'm going to put the cup of the brothy stuff with the veggies to make gravy. I'm going to add a little bit more garlic powder to it. I'll show you my secret weapon for making gravy. This is the seasoning that I'm going to put in the gravy. I love this stuff. Don't interpret this wrong. It's an ancient symbol, and it's turned around in different ways. Everything is love here, okay? So I get this at the Asian market. It's a mushroom seasoning. I use it in soups, gravies. It is the bombity bombs. It's just granular. I'm going to mix it with cornstarch to allow it to thicken up. I use this organic cornstarch. I always make sure that I got organic, non-GMO. Cornstarch just thickens up really nicely. You can use tapioca flour, potato starch, and if you're not gluten-free, you could certainly use flour. For the gravy, I'm going to add a little bit of water. Being that my liquid is hot, if I add the cornstarchy stuff right now and it's not blended, it's going to have giant lumps in my gravy. Have you ever had lumpy gravy? Yeah. To avoid having lumpy gravy, it's always best to just use cold water. We want to make sure there's no solid chunks mixing until I have almost a milky consistency. This will avoid you having lumpy gravy. Now I'm going to add this to this, and I think that's going to put a little bit more water in there and get all the goodies out. I found I have a brand new thing of parsley, dried sage, and dried thyme. So I'm going to add all three of these. Depending on what flavor you like, you may want to add a little more of some, a little less of another. See, I just sprinkle it in. I don't measure. I'm not into that. I'll just try it later. Seems like it needs more. I'll add more. Okay, let's see how the soy curls are doing. Good thing I checked, because they're starting to get a little bit more done on the side, so I'm going to mix them around. It's always good to keep track of what's going on in the kitchen and all the different places. This gravy is starting to thicken up. Some of these soy curls got really crunchy on the top. I kind of like them like that, but you might want to move those towards the bottom so they don't keep getting burned. Everything is repositioned. I'm going to put it back in, but I'm going to cook them at a lower temperature so they don't burn. I've got my gravy going. Now I'm going to add the kale. It looks almost like the kale is going to overflow. What am I going to flavor this with? I'll probably just use a little bit of this since this is handy. I'm going to add some garlic to it. Once this starts to boil, we're going to see how thick it is, and if we need to add more water, we will. Depends on what the flavor is. We taste it. If it's too salty, we'll add some more water. We might need to add more cornstarch. It's a balancing act, but a lot of times it works out. I don't need to go back and forth that much. I'm going to put a little bit of nutritional yeast on the kale just to kind of give it a little something something. I'm going to add stuff to my mashed potatoes. Oat milk. I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to add some of this from Trader Joe's. It's organic, buttery, plant-based spread. It's kind of like Earth Balance. I try not to use too much because I don't want to have too much oil. Then I'm going to get my masher and mash it up. I'll put some salt and pepper in there too. Don't worry about that. You can see steam on there. So the kale looks pretty good. It's got little bits and pieces in there. The gravy looks pretty done. It's bubbling. I'm going to do a little taste test in a second. And then I got to mash up the potatoes. I'm mashing it up. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You want to make sure you get the carrots really mashed up in there. See the carrots? They're a little bit harder to mash. I like using a metal one of these. This one's my favorite. It's kind of a workout. I find like you twist it like this, give it a little twisty twist. If you feel like, oh, that doesn't look like there's enough liquid in there, you can always add more, so don't go crazy with the liquid at first. I'm just going to do the rest of that guy. There we go. The worst is when you have mashed potatoes that's too wet. Have you ever had that? Ugh, runny mashed potatoes. You want the mashed potatoes soft, but not too soft. You want them to be able to hold the gravy, right? Have a little gravy bit in the middle. Be able to push down the center and have some gravy stick in there. If you've got kids that don't like carrots, you can disguise them this way. Everything is better with gravy on it, right? There's the gravy there. It's looking good. Everything is done. It's just a matter of trying everything and making sure it tastes okay. How do you know your mashed potatoes are good? You can lick them off there. Tastes delicious. I decided to take my gravy to the next level and use my immersion blender because I want to take the little chunks and make them more smooth. Now for the taste test. Those are really good. Gravy has a lot of flavor. Potatoes have a lot of flavor, so you can eat them on their own. It's not overpowering. I'm glad I blended the gravy. I think it tastes better that way, especially with the sage and the thyme. I think it needed kind of a little bit more blending. This is the kale that's been cooked down with the other veggies. Kind of southern style, which is going to be good with the barbecue. Yeah. It's good. Okay. Now. It's good. It's not overpowering, it's not too sweet, it's not too spicy. Everything is just equally balanced. It's a good meal altogether, but separate too. You can do this. All it takes is an air fryer, soy curls, some potatoes, some carrots.